scale. I lost him.
So what's the bad news? Did you run into some guards?
You're not gonna believe this. He was attacked by some kind of dinosaur.
Now that's a good one.
Dino Crisis, developed and released by Capcom in 1999 for the Sony PlayStation and later for the Sega Dreamcast. A special forces team has been sent to investigate mysterious occurrences on Ibis Island. What they discover when they arrive is an evil, both deadly and ancient. The player takes control of Regina as you explore inside, outside, and underneath the research facility. You'll battle such prehistoric terrors such as velociraptors, pterodons, compies, and even the enormous Tyrannosaurus Rex. Dino Crisis is a third-person survival horror game developed by the same team responsible for Resident Evil, and shares a lot of the same aspects. From the control scheme, to the puzzles, and even managing the minimalist inventory, it's pretty much Resident Evil meets Jurassic Park. You start off with the pistol, which barely does jack shit to any of the dinosaurs, but you start to find other weapons later on, such as the shotgun, which you can use shells or anesthetic darts to put the dinosaurs to sleep to make your stay a little easier. Fighting the dinosaurs early on in the game is a big no-no, especially since your weapon barely does any damage to the dinosaurs, and ammo is even more scarce than it was in Resident Evil. But you do have other options to survive, such as the anesthetic darts, and there's also some environmental traps that you can set to keep the dinosaurs at bay. So for a good portion early on in the game, you're mostly just going to be running, and running, and running from the dinosaurs. Inventory management in the game is very odd. Regina can carry up to 10 items, and there are little item storage places you can find throughout the game, but you need to find plugs in order to operate them. So if you're full on inventory and you don't have plugs to unlock an item chest, you're just pretty much screwed. There's also only one way to save in Dino Crisis. You have to find particular rooms that will allow you to save within them, and these rooms are very hard to come by, so you have to keep returning to the same room over and over again to save your game. Unique to Dino Crisis is the mix feature. If you look in the options screen, you'll see a mix option, and throughout the game you'll find several recovery aids and other types of items, which you can use in the mix feature to make new and more powerful recovery items that are more useful in the later game. As far as recovery items, you have your standard med packs, but you also have what's called hemostats. When dinosaurs attack you, you have a chance to bleed, which will leave a trail of blood behind you and slowly drain your health. Using the hemostat will heal these wounds. Unlike Resident Evil, Dino Crisis did not use pre-rendered backgrounds, but used actual 3D rendered environments, which looked pretty decent for the time. The characters and dialogue in Dino Crisis are your usual horror fare, but the acting is not as bad as you'd expect from a Capcom survival horror game. Dino Crisis is a fun game, but also very frustrating and strange. Some of the game mechanic choices, such as the weird item storage system, and having to find a disc and a key card to operate some of the locked doors in the game, just makes it really tedious. Ammo stacking also really sucks. Only 3 darts per item slot, and when you create the darts, you make 4 darts, so that's 2 inventory slots gone. You've got to be kidding me. And like I said earlier, there is no point in fighting the dinosaurs early on in the game, unless you just want to waste your ammo frivolously and die an early death. The anesthetic darts are useful, but once you leave the room and come back, the dinosaurs wakes up immediately. So that's wasted. The story in Dino Crisis is okay and involves elements of time travel if you're into that kind of thing, and there's also 3 different endings you can get. Overall, Dino Crisis is a decent game, but very frustrating with some odd gameplay choices. I can see why this one didn't take off like Resident Evil, but it still managed to spawn 2 sequels and a spin-off game. This one also shouldn't be too expensive either. If you happen across it, drop maybe $5 or $10 on it and have a good time. If you're a fan of Resident Evil, survival horror, and Jurassic Park, it may be right up your alley. Well guys, that's it for this episode of the 31 Games of Halloween. Please leave a like and a comment down below, and subscribe if you haven't already, and please share with your friends. Thank you again so much for joining me on this episode of the 31 Games of Halloween, and I will see you tomorrow for Day 19. Have a good night.